So, Kevin, you haven't even found out what our next series is going to be on. I was going to surprise you on air, but yeah. So, I just did a series. I just did an episode with Mikey. We talked about ownership and what it means to become an owner and how to keep it in the family, stay an owner, like that sort of thing. So, this series is all going to be about having an impact. So, I call it the Impact series, and what it I think of it as more of I'm trying to have an impact, you're trying to have an impact. And so inviting people into our story and maybe they can build their story because I'm just trying to build an impact at this point. It's like I have this like dream of having a huge impact, not quite there yet. So I kind of want to just invite people along for the ride. But then I've also broken the series down into how can we have the most impact, and I'm put my roadmap out there for what I think is going to work for me and our family. But basically, it's a 6-part series that I can break down into um, subcategories of these six. But you start off life with having skills or learning a skill. Then that kind of gives you a purpose. And then after your purpose, you have the ability to kind of start having a vision of what you'd like that purpose to become. And then you can create something to help you accomplish that vision. So we might think of it as a business. In this series, we're going to think of it as like creating your business in order to accomplish your vision, which is downstream from your purpose and your skills. And then that leads to ownership, what you do with the ownership, how you're responsible for that ownership, and then passing that down in terms of a legacy. How can we prepare to pass that ownership to make sure it doesn't degrade over time, right? So like passing it down to your kids or like a close family member or a business partner or whatever. That's kind of how I laid it out, because me and you were talking about the other day, like we're not really doing lawn care launch for the money. Like in a sense, it's almost like we're a for-profit that is trying to act like a nonprofit almost. Like the company's all about loving others and serving others, and that's kind of the way we've built the foundation. And but we want to do that as profitable as possible, because that's going to help us grow it, and we're not going to have to take outside funding, be held captive maybe by possible donors. If you do a nonprofit, I'm not saying that just happens in the nonprofit world. How can we do that inside of a profitable business to where the owners have control of how the money gets spent, and how it gets delegated out, how it grows the vision. And so I don't know, that's kind of how I started thinking about our for-profit company, because it's a business show. Like we want to be profitable. How can we use that profit to fit inside of our vision and our impact that we want to have on society? Because I think in this world, I know me personally, I feel like materialism's kind of on its way out, and everybody's looking for purpose outside of just buying things. Maybe I'm reading the room wrong, but that's how I feel about the next generations coming up. And so anyway, that's what I wanted to have the series on. And a lot of it stemmed from our conversation of, I think you said a couple of months ago that you didn't even care what size we got to. It was more about success for me at the end of my life would be all the people that came up and say how much I helped them, with the skills that you've been blessed to have over the last 40 years. So anyway, that's kind of where I wanted to take the next series, man. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a fun ride. Just listening to you unpack that and me trying to really put everything in the right buckets where it's going to be, I think this is going to work really well because you and Mikey are close in generation, but you're not. And then I'm so far away from your generation. And I think all three of our viewpoints are going to be a little different. Me being a Gen Xer and being raised the way I was, it has taken me a long time to even have the glasses on that you guys are wearing right now. And then it took a while for my glasses to really get dialed in with the proper visions compared to what you, Mike, Stephanie, Megan have compared to how long it's taken me for that ride and what bumps and bruises I've had to go through for it. And then you guys having the mentality to do it in an earlier age. I'm just excited to be part of that. If I can offer any pain resistance in some of your travels that you're going to be moving forward with this and our listeners. But you guys are way ahead of me, light year ways of setting yourself free, buying back your time, creating a legacy compared to where I am right now. So I think it's just going to work really good having that viewpoint from so many different directions.
I think the world is just forcing everyone to change rapidly at this point. I mean, think how much the world's changed just since COVID. I don't even know if it's an age thing. I think if you were my age and you were going through all this sort of thing, you'd probably be going through, I mean, heck, we're all going through the same transformation. Like ever since I met you 4 years ago, all of us have changed dramatically. Like just the way I would talk about where I was headed, where you were headed, it was, now we're all kind of converging. We're all changing in real time. I want people to see that in real time as we explore this. Cause heck, I don't even know what we're going to get into half the time, just kind of where my headspace has been. But it's been cool watching us all change in the last 4 or 5 years. And so I was like, why don't we just put this in podcast format and invite people into the story? Because I think they can build their own story based on hopefully, this outline and maybe give them some things to think about. And, hopefully we'll get some feedback from the audience, give us things to think about. But so my first question would be, you've been able to spend a lot of time probably thinking since you left your corporate job just on viewing the world differently, what sort of impact you want to have in it. My first question is, what sort of impact would you like to have in this world? And has that changed over the years? Because I think owning a business will change it dramatically most of the time. I don't know if that's been your case or so anyway, what sort of impact would you like to have, Kevin?
That's a great question. And that vision has changed over my path to where I am right now. And yes, you are correct. Owning a business, I would say, clarifies it a little bit more, gives you a little bit clearer glasses to put on. Of course, when we all are young and married, vision and focus is your wife, your partner, whoever it's going to be. Like, this is the best thing ever. Then children come into it, and then it shifts over to children. And this is why I'm envious of you and Michael and Stephanie and Megan, is because you're doing this so much younger. But when I had children, all I worried about was producing enough money to pay the bills. And it wasn't having the creativity to maybe do it a different way than what mainstream said of go work for someone, punch in, punch out, get your money, get your benefits, some type of retirement, and move on. And it has allowed me, now that our children are older, to have the creativity and the wherewithal to take the risks that you four are doing. I just had to do it much later. So the vision has changed throughout. Now my vision really is, I just put another pair of glasses on, was to get Stacy out of the main workforce and come and work for the business. It's still sometimes hard to believe, and you've been doing it with Megan, and Stephanie and Michael are very close in their career paths, of having my partner, spouse next to me 24 hours a day now. And
Yeah.
her having the freedom, she's literally down in our gym working out right now, and having the freedom to do what we need to do. I'm a morning person. She's a night owl. I'll catch her on the computer till 11:45 working on our CRM system, doing whatever. She was setting up our newsletter. That's just her shift. It's diabolically. It's working really well. So then my vision has changed now to help her in the business, help me, so that we can grow together, maybe more solid, but easier, less work. It's divided between two people. And then we compound that vision.
You're leveraging your overhead.
Exactly. It's so funny how all this stuff just rolls back into either human interaction or into business interaction. It's so true.
Yeah.
And then what we're building here with Lawn Care Lunch, and you mentioned in the opener about being a profitable business that acts like a nonprofit, and that really just rings home and makes me feel comfortable with that. We talk and preach all the time. We need profits. We need profits to continue doing what we're doing. What we do with them is putting them in the right places for the right reason is the cool stuff. And that's what we get to have power of doing, bringing in more people, more bookkeepers. Megan has her help now. Stephanie, we can get her some help with marketing on the side. We're taking profits and just giving our customers faster, better service. That's what we're doing with our profits. It's not building this huge conglomerate that's going to go and be sold to a VC or a private equity. That's not our vision. Our vision is to have a hand in it, to literally be able to verbalize and help all the clients that come to us. So that's our new vision, is just providing more help. I've always been a server. I've always enjoyed providing something for somebody else. And I get the reward from giving, not receiving. Stacy's the same way. We've been cooking food for the crew all week that they've been here. The smile on their face and the thank yous, and it's nice and warm. It's hot, because it's freezing cold up here in Connecticut. They come into our basement area with a pellet stove, chili, homemade scones, cookies. That's just we just love doing that. And that's our next vision now, is more of the give back vision. It doesn't mean I have tons of money to give people, but if I can make someone's day better by a smile, a compliment, helping me a clear meeting after one of our coaches meeting and help them reduce some of the mistakes that I've made, I feel completely happy with my day.
And I think what's cool is that we're all kind of realizing over the last 5 years is that you can actually serve more people by building a business that is representative of what you stand for and then scaling that business with the same vision in mind. And that's the realization I've come to over the last 5 years, because you know a little bit of my story. Like, I wanted to take excess profits, put it in stocks. I wanted to do kind of hedge fund type of stuff, still ethically do it. It wasn't like I was thinking of it unethically, but it's like I don't have control over that. Over a business, you know, we all have control over every single part of where all the money goes. We don't have to answer to outside funding. We don't have to answer to anyone but ourselves, and we can cast that vision out there, and people can come into the story. But I think that's the beauty in it that I like to bring to capitalism, is making ethical businesses that can't be controlled by people that don't align with your value system. And so I think that's where you kind of bridge in between profit and nonprofit, and maybe capitalism, and even kind of like I don't even know what word you'd use for it. It's not socialism, but it's like, it's kind of like the pros of both sides. It's like kind of all, you know, there's four of us that own it. We've shown that it can work together, but at the same time, we're still trying to have a capitalist business and expand as far as possible, as long as the customer service is still good, the personal relationships are still good, and it gives us the power to kind of still live humbly and not lavishly, but at the same time, we're able to expand with control of the original vision, because there's so many businesses that get built and then they get off track from outside funding or selling the company, and then it becomes something that it wasn't intended to be. And I talked to this with Mikey in the last episode. I'm very confident this business is going to succeed, and my number one fear would be that it becomes a monster. You know, like there's so many businesses that become something that wasn't originally intended. So how do we prevent that? We keep a certain ethic in mind. I'll fill you in on that later, or heck, now I wanted to propose that a business. There's so many awesome capitalistic businesses that are all about serving others. But I think that we forget that the fundamental premise of a business should be the world that we want to live in, which is the love of others. And so, like, that's kind of the Christian message too. It's like, I think serving others is downstream from loving others. If you can make that your culture of love God and love people, then the serving others is just natural consequence of it. And so building a business with that ethic in mind, and also the ethic isn't able to be hijacked by donors or outside funding or selling to something that doesn't represent those values. I think that's how you maintain it. I don't know how long you could maintain it for, but that would be the legacy I'd like to pass on to whoever takes the business over eventually. But yeah, that's kind of a little bit what me and Mikey talked about. And he said he'd have to think about it because, you know, he'd never heard that before. But anyway, I think there's a lot of businesses that are all about serving others. Like Amazon could be about customer service, you know, but I don't feel like they actually care about me. I'd like to propose us making a business where the whole ethic and the culture is about we actually give a crap, you know, and then serving others is just the consequence of that. But anyway, I don't know if I kind of overloaded your ears there, but that's kind of
no. I have lived this entire thing, and we've talked about this all different times of what we want to name it. Do we want to call it the creative revolution? Do we call it the Main Street movement? Whatever. I was brought up in the Main Street movement, where you had businesses that you frequented that were family owned, run. They weren't big conglomerates that cared about you. You know, you came in with service, smile. You went back to them because they took care of you. Always the jeweler, the foot store. You would go to the baker, all that stuff, the same people over and over again. And I can remember the ones that we would go to as a kid over and over. And we watched these larger businesses come in and take and close a lot of our mom and pop stores.
Yeah.
I'm seeing, and I know we talk about it all the time, that is slowly changing again, because private equity, venture capitalists, all these people have come and bought up some of those businesses. A lot of them just have basically twilighted because they've retired or done with business. They're old. They didn't know that they could actually sell. And I'm starting to see the failure of the PC companies and these big pieces because people now they want to go back to that service base. Remember, everything repeats itself. It's whether it's political, whatever. Let's see. Our last campaign was just, our presidential was just Republican. There's no shocker. Watch the news. Just about every state around here is going to, in their midterm elections, are going to bring in Democrats. And then when all the Democrats come in, they bring in the Republicans. It's not difficult to figure out. I mean, so our businesses are doing the same thing. It just takes a little bit longer of a transition, but went from seeing it as a kid to now as a more mature person, let's say, it's starting to come back. We're starting to see more people opening up little businesses, more people getting into service base, not going to colleges. Here, an example, we, with the building that we're building, our contractor, who is a friend of ours, has a garage door company scheduled to do the door or has it in a line item. It's not scheduled by any means. One of the kids that my boys went to school with reached out to me on social media from seeing the pictures, and they said, "Hey, Kevin, it's Zach. I won't say his name. I do this. I have an overhead door business. I've been doing it for 3 years. Sent me a ton of pictures." I'm like, "Yep, so I want to use." A young kid that's out in the trade business, didn't go to college,
absolutely.
Good people. I service his mom's house. I service his brother's house. Yes, send me over your proposal. So I'm seeing more and more of that, which is awesome. It's great. We need more and more of that. And he's basically self-funding himself in this business. It's phenomenal. It was a side hustle and will turn into something full-time for him. And I'll be more than happy to do business. So we're seeing that. And I'm happy that it's coming back to that. I think there's going to be more and more people that are going to want local, smaller, responsible businesses providing services for them in the future.
One thing I've really thought about a lot, probably over the last 15 years, is when does something become like a soulless entity or institution or something like that? Like, because we did a whole scaling series. We're interested in scaling businesses. Is it possible to scale a business without it becoming something that, because I think we all kind of start off as like a small mom and pop and customer service and relationships. I think that what I'm trying to work through in this series is, can you scale that indefinitely without turning into something that it originally was not meant to be? So you think the small church that has all the personal relationships becoming a mega church, and then everybody doesn't even know each other's name and nobody really cares. They just kind of go their separate way at the end of the day. That's what I'm interested in building, is like scaling a very large company that still keeps that mom and pop shop feel. I don't even know if I've ever seen it. My question is, like, is it possible? I think it is. And I think that the foundational premise has to be a company built on the love of others in order to scale. And it kind of goes back to like the Christian message too, which was mind blowing to me. Mikey said if he could sum up, he's a PhD student for New Testament, and he said if he could sum up what he's learned about the Bible, is that all these denominations, a lot of it is just noise and arguments and stuff. He said that the fundamental premise of the Bible is love God and love people. And so I think if you made your business that ethic, that's unlimited scalability. And I think that's actually the church, what it's supposed to be anyway. Like, and so I was like, what if you bring that into the business culture? Like, what if that's the culture? Like, we all really care. And, it's easier said than done. But I think that's actually the key to making something not become a soulless entity over time, which is something I'm really, really interested in, because me and you did a whole 27-part series on scaling. We like to scale. We like profits. So I'd like to really make sure that our business never becomes that. That's why I'm proposing that's why I'm basically wanting to do this series with you, is we're going to kind of try and work through how that could even be possible,
With you saying that and talking about Mikey with having his education and his career, answering that, before you even said that, I had my answer in my head, and it just knitted right into what you're saying. I feel, and what can happen, probably not at the scale of Amazon and Yahoo and Apple and all that, but if we literally grew our businesses to be profitable for our tribe, I think it would be almost impossible to kill.
Yeah.
Meaning you can be profitable, you can still be successful as the business owner / owners, but if your taking a lot of those profits and putting them back into the company so other people become profitable and secure in their finances within the company, I don't think why that business would ever fail. I mean, that's culture from the best angle ever. And just had a call last night with one of our clients in working towards a pay for performance style pay with him for the main reason. And it was pretty funny when we started talking about it. I'm like, the first thing we need to do is have a cultural shift of how you're going to be looking for team members to work for your company. Now we're not going to be looking so much just for doers. We need to have people that want to have some type of ownership within the company, run each crew, whatever they're doing, as if it's their own company. And it will just be a different mindset of who you're bringing into your organization compared to the typical landscaping season starts and we're panicking. We're looking for any really warm body that possibly could weed whack. And it's going to take some time to go through that transition to get up to this next mentality that he wants to run his business, how he wants to run it, I should say. But that's exactly what we're trying to instill in people. And he has it. He's caught on to the vibe we're putting down, as they would say. And I'm so excited to work on that path with him. And he's super energized to do it.
That's great. I think also to just kind of add to our whole conversation is I think a lot of times when you think of culture, many companies will think of just like the employees, the people within the business, like things like that. And so often we forget about I think your culture should go full circle. So it should be, yes, your employees and the people that work there, your customers. What about your family too? Like everything should run full circle. Like your part, you have your family, and then you move into your work role, and then your workers move into like the customer service. Like that entire culture should be one big circle. And so oftentimes we compartmentalize it. And I've seen a lot of companies do that where they have like this super great customer service, but then the family life of the person sucks because they're always working or gone or whatever. Like they're almost sacrificing their family for the company's sake or something. And it's like, if you built with the love of humanity in mind, and I told Mikey, I was like, I know this sounds super cheesy, but it's literally the Christian message. It's everything will work full circle if that's the reason you're doing it.
I couldn't agree more with this. Yep. I've been part of a few of them that have grown profits for the wrong reasons. And it causes turmoil. You see problems in the management skills that you need to have basically for diffusion and deflection and to keep people motivated because of working for profits instead of working for end results and community and bettering all the people within the company. I've lived it. I've seen it. I didn't know that there was a different side. That's the part I'm getting at with this series. I didn't know any different because that was the institutional education that I received, which I didn't. Yeah. I got my education from being in business and being taught by business owners and managers and consultants. They didn't have this mentality vision. And I don't even know why I'm picking it up and starting. I don't know. I guess I'll put a lot on Stacy's dad, who was a massive Christian, and just everything that him and my mother-in-law did was always very ethical, God-loving decisions. And Stacy, it's so funny to see her coming into that same show. In her social media, not that she does much, but Instagram, it's Salters Clan on Instagram. She's always putting inspirational posts up on her stories. And they always seem to hit at the right time. It's like her favorite thing to do. It's just a little blip here. She sees something from here, puts it up there. And that's just her dad coming out in her. She is probably more of I'm not going to say a fault, more towards the part of giving and helping than I am. And I personally kind of find that hard to believe because she knows I'm a sucker for everyone. I'll help anyone. It doesn't matter if I win or lose. They need help. I'm going to give it to them. Starting to see it coming out of her because she has the time and clarity in our own business now to be able to think differently than having to go to a brick and mortar, deliverables, make sure the boss isn't mad, got to meet all these state regulations for the job she was doing. Now we just have a little bit more time for creativity and really better thoughts, which is really neat.
And I love that, man. You guys are some of the most giving people I've ever met. I'll definitely attest to that. what I'd really like to work through with you in this series is what I've noticed a lot of times with givers is they give so much of themselves that it's almost like they run out of energy, or like they want to do more and they can't, and they always feel this feeling of guilt of not being able to do more. And I want to suggest, like, through the entity of a business, you can expand that level of care to transcend yourself, to where you do feel like you're doing all that you can, because it's not your time. It's some of your time, yes, but it's everyone's time that's part of that organization. And you can expand the way you feel about serving others through that entity of the business. And so, like, that's kind of I mean, heck, I love that you were saying that. That's kind of what we're talking about. It's just like, how do you put yourself into the business and make the business do everything that you're trying to do on a personal level, which may seem overwhelming.
I think where it happened for me was when Grassman and Tick Begone was sold. I went to Russo, was working there, got a wonderful education through that, started my own side gig. When I started my side gig, I did it because I loved what I was doing. And I didn't even know this was a thing before we all met and all this new verbiage that's out, but I was just solving people's problems. They came to me because they were past customers that got sold from Grassman, that were sold over to True Green, and the service just went downhill. We had a lot of customers in my town. Grassman, we serviced the whole state basically, in my town, who knew me and basically would either call me, run into me at a soccer game and say, "Hey, Kevin, my lawn is it's missing you. Any chance you could?" I'm like, I don't know. Well, next thing you know, I'm out with a hand push spreader and a spray bottle, basically doing some lawns. And I did it because I was solving their problem. And I became respected because I was a true professional in it. And I think if you are running your business and you are providing services for your customer because, one, you truly enjoy it, you truly are helping them because you're solving a problem they have, and you're doing amazing craftsman work, your mentality changes how you shift your business. It did for me. That was a major change as I rolled into it. Never have I been cocky that, oh, I'm the best around there is. No, I just tell them, I take pride in everything that I do when I'm on your property. I'm always going to give you my 110% while I'm here. And if you have that attitude, you're going to be extremely successful in business. And that is giving back. Yeah. You are getting payment for that. But that is a problem for them that you're solving, and you have exchange of monetary sources so that you can continue doing that for more people.
Right. Nothing I mean, what if they pay you and you put all that into being able to serve another 15 people? You know, like that's kind of what I'm putting forth. Yeah, that's what you do. Yeah. It's like, and how do you scale that unlimitedly? Yeah. So my next thing is, I really, business has helped me see farther than I ever thought I could see before. Like, I was always I feel like I was a relatively small thinker in terms of like how much impact I want to have. I always thought about like my immediate surroundings, and me and Megan help out a lot of people in the area and our family and everything. But it's like, how can we scale that? Like, I don't know. That's just kind of how I think now. And I really want to have this series inspire you to take your business and add that to the way you already feel about your community, and allow that to help you see farther than you ever thought you could see before. And we'll get into that in our, like, when we get to the vision part. So let's start with like a deep philosophical question here, Kevin. And it may seem even like overwhelming of a question, but like, what things do you have like a deep desire to fix in this world as you look around? Like, if you could maybe snap your fingers and like, oh, boom, that's gone, or like, at least you take a chunk out of it or something, right?
Man, whew, that is deep. And I mean,
too early for this, huh?
No, I have a couple. I mean, there's so many things.
I know, yeah, just something that you would like. I mean, maybe number one thing you think you could possibly have a chance at taking a big chunk out of it or something.
Well, here's a small one that we got denied we can't do. And Stacey and I said this way back when our twin boys were born. Zach was in NICU for about a week, I think, before he could come home. And now here we are 28 years later. Our daughter Jenna is working in NICU. And Stacey and I just want to be snugglers. where there are volunteers that go in and just hold and snuggle babies when they need human contact at that very early age. Unfortunately, they don't do that anymore since the COVID and all that crazy stuff, that they don't allow that. But we said that from day one. We look forward to going. So if we could there's just one simple thing that we could help someone that was struggling, leaving their baby in NICU to have to go home, because we did that same thing. And it was not easy when Stacy was being wheeled out of the hospital with Kyle in the wheelchair and everyone's smiling and happy while we're walking by NICU and we're leaving one behind us. And it was a difficult time with us as young parents, where if we could be some type of a volunteer in there helping those parents that will be sub-parents while you're taking care of yourself at home and getting better, so that your baby, and it's very expensive to the hospital every day. Trust me, we just did that for 6 weeks in May. But that would be something very easy that I would love to help and would be passionate about. If I had a magic wand, probably the first thing I would probably do is stop this political bullcrap that's going on. Really, it has ruined our country with news. Yeah. People hate each other because of what party they voted for, or can't even have a decent discussion between one side or the other. You'll see their blood pressure rise right up. And my simple answer is, I'm not smart enough to make a decision on what these guys are talking about. I'm not educated enough.
Right.
So if we could clear that, that's literally ruining the mentality in our country. It really is.
I agree.
It's taking creative minds and hampering them. It's showing really true hatred of within this country.
Yeah.
It's wild. That would be my biggest one. If we could do that, and then let's get into the medical part, and let's cure some of this crap that's going on. And I think we have cures for.
Well, I just want to say, like, through a business, you could potentially accomplish both of those, at least take a big chunk out of that. Like, for example, if you buy your time back through scaling a company, you can do more of what the first thing you're talking about, which is like holding the babies and being there for them. And maybe even start a business or something with the profits of this business to go off and start another one to be able to do maybe a service like that. I don't even know if there's a model like that, but that's one thing Megan and I want to do, is like take some of the profits after we're done. Honestly, I don't even think our business will take a lot of reinvested profits, because I want it to be largely word of mouth, kind of like you've done it with root development, taking some of the profits, and we would like to build a lot of community type of stuff in our area. And I could get more into detail with that, but like, that's what we want to do with a lot of the profits of our business, bring our family together. Cause I have a very big family. They're all separate. They're all got their head down. They're very much like, just in the system, and it's hard to get out of it, And so I'd like to be able to.
It's exactly so right. You get caught in that hamster wheel. It's so hard to step out of it.
It's hard. And I get it, man. And with what you're talking about politically, like, I totally agree with that. I mean, one of my visions for this company with Lawn Care Launch is, what I'd really like to change in the world is to free people from the grind. Like, and that's what I hope Lawn Care Launch does, is like help you buy back your time so that you can affect the change in your local community. Because I can't tell people what to do in Providence, Rhode Island. Like, what if you had people that were in our Lawn Care Launch program that have bought their time that can affect change in Providence, Rhode Island? Like, if you help all these local businesses buy back their time and do it with the right reasons in mind, they can affect change in their communities that I have no effect over. Like, I don't want to be a representative for Providence. I don't live there, And I think the more you free people from the system, the less political they get. I mean, I know that's been my case. Like, I don't see right or left. I see human beings everywhere. But the reason I'm less political is because we bought back our time, and I had time to actually think about it, calm down, take a deep breath. Like, most people, it's just, they turn on the news at the end of the day, they get all fired up, and depending on what news station you watch, that's the side you take. What if you had more time to philosophize about this stuff, and business can help do that? And so, well, all I'm proposing is, like, through the entity of your business, you can affect change in a large way, especially if there's, I don't see really any end in sight in terms of accomplishing that goal. That would take decades to do, but you could take chunks out of it each year, just by slowly helping people in other parts of the country buy their time back, and then they can be a voice piece for their area. And maybe we get less political that way. I don't know, but I mean, that's kind of, I think if you start seeing far enough out, it becomes something that's never really attainable, but it's still very purposeful, and you feel like you wouldn't have any regrets at the end of your life if you were trying to tackle it, you know?
So for my synopsis on what you just said, um, you guys down south are more in the Bible Belt area of Christianity. Up here,
Yeah.
it's either going to be you're either Catholic or Protestant, and again, there's issues with all of it in combined.
I don't align with any denomination either.
No, and that's the thing. That was the beginning and the start of division in our country, when you had to pick or choose, instead of going back to what Mikey's studying of basically love God and love the neighbor, and everything else will be fine after that. But then it was a struggle of power, of who could have probably more people in their church compared to others. And I'm not going to get into that part, but the cool part that I'm seeing in the full circle piece is us meeting you in the relationships with Stephanie and Michael. Just in the short term that I've known Stephanie and Michael, they've been on at least 2 missionary projects, probably, maybe more.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take what you just said, it's exactly what we're doing with Lunch and Lunch. We're doing a missionary. When you said you can't physically change anything in Providence, Rhode Island, but you could help people that could have the same mentality as us change that. And it's a missionary project.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I think that the biggest difference is it's self-funded. It comes from the profits of the organization, and it gets reinvested into the mission. And so I don't know. I'm just, I know you and Stacey are big on the nonprofits, and there's some really good ones I'm sure that you've ran into, and there's some really bad ones that you've ran into. Some of the bigger ones in this country, if you research what they do with that money, it's appalling. Like some of the more local ones, it's really amazing what they're doing, but it's like, I've researched some of them. Like, I don't want to support that. It's packaged in this like nice name it has, and then you actually look into the nitty gritty part of it. That's the investor in me. I'm going to look in it, see how they're spending the money. Like, if you have a for-profit business with ethical owners, that money's going to ethically get used, and it's not going to ever. There's some nonprofits that, like, if they don't bend the knee to their donors and their donors want them to do something, their whole business isn't going to explode. Their business will explode if they don't listen to them, And so they some of them start getting controlled by their donors, and their donors half the time, maybe they didn't research them properly. Maybe they're just some bad people, and they thought they were good, and they get stuck with them, and then all their business is running around it. And then, I don't want that ever to be a problem. And I think there's good and bads of nonprofits, but I mean, that's pretty common on the bigger ones that I've seen in this country. And my proposal is, like, if you have a for-profit business with ethical owners, you can act like a nonprofit that doesn't get dependent on outside unethical funding eventually.
Well, I mean, one of the classic examples is just look at the books of American Red Cross. I mean, it's disgusting what their CEOs are making.
Yeah.
Yes, do a part of their money go and do good for people? Absolutely. I've been saying this for years, that the creation of nonprofit organizations, 503c and 501(b) or whatever all those different ones are, is just another tax loophole to manage money into a different direction. Most of them. There's some good ones out there, but most of them, unfortunately, get caught up into it, where it becomes very profitable from the donations, and they become so big, like American Red Cross. They do a lot of good, but really, if they want to be that charitable, does the CEO need to make the double-digit millions of dollars a year?
Right.
Really?
Right.
I think, and another one, I saw a clip of it. Who was it? It was a famous news guy with the Shark Tank guy that owns the baseball team or basketball team, used to. Mark Cuban.
Cuban? Yeah.
Yep. From Ukraine, right? And Cuban was talking about, we should do this, we should do that, we should donate it. And whoever it was said, well, how much have you done? And he goes, well, it's not about me. He goes, well, your family's from Ukraine. You have roots in Ukraine. So how much have you personally, your billions of dollars put over there, but you want we to do it? So unfortunately, when you get to, I believe, those levels of money, there's not many of them that continue to stay charitable. And if they are, they're not in the news. Most of the ones that are in the news and the flashy media are probably the ones just looking for more money.
Yeah, exactly.
You hear a couple sweet stories of some great famous people that are giving tons and tons of money away. But be that as it may, it's sad how much the division has created to where we are looking for acceptance by profits and being large, and not just for doing good things. And it's a different status symbol now that we have.
Yeah, man, that's perfectly well said. Yeah, it's detestable when you see something that's like packaged as this good thing and the inside's all rotten. It's just really really gross, man. And it's a lot of our businesses, nonprofits, a lot of it in this country, and it's not that the people are bad. Like the people will see, oh, I'm going to give money to this organization. They seem like they do good, but
Right.
a lot of times maybe they're so busy they don't get a chance to research it like they could, or they don't even know how to research it. We're not even taught how to research a lot of things. It was something I was lucky to learn how to do when I started investing 15 years ago. Is I learned how to really follow money trails and intimately research things and see if everything that you say you're doing, you're actually doing. And I've just been blessed to be able to do that. But there's so much just dirty money in this country because people are so busy and they want to feel like they're a part of something. And so they donate it because it's like, this has this great name. And there's so many problems that are caused because of it, simply because people don't have the time to research it or whatever. And they want to be part of something, but their job doesn't allow them to, because they're so in the trenches. And so what if you were a part of something that was bigger than yourself, and it was a business that ethically used its money and didn't have to bend the knee to anyone, that wasn't controlled by debt or outside funding or anything like that. So that's cool, Kevin.
I think this just honestly created another vision for me within Lawn Care Launch after your explanation and Michael's explanation of it all, is that we are a visionary company. We are going to really create a little missionary in ourselves of, I had 4 coaching calls yesterday, and all 4 of them were in different states, and all 4 of them are thinking the way we do. And then tonight I have another one. This afternoon I have another one. That person I know is thinking like us, and that is growing. And my coaching calls are growing, and there's more people that are now thinking the way we are, and they're going to exhaust their mentality to other people. And it's just we are not going to change the world by any means, but we're going to change a nice little group that we can be proud of.
Yeah,
and help
man.
With. And we've said that from the beginning. What was success for me? What was success for you? It's not to be the social media guy and see my face all over social media, because I hate cameras. I really do.
I do too.
But being walked up to at a show and someone thanking you, not because they saw you on the Joey Coberly show or they saw you on this Root Development podcast or Lawn Care Launch, it's something that we helped them through, and it made their lives better. Done. Hang it up. Great day. Let's go home now.
I agree.
That's what I find success.
And you never know. I mean, you just think about the compounding effect. Let's say we change, I don't know, 1,000 or 5,000 lives inside of Lawn Care Launch. It seems like a drop in the bucket compared to the 350 million people that live here. But imagine
those 5,000 are going to speak the way we speak.
That's what I'm saying. Like it compounds. Like you have those 5,000 people. What if they affect another, 100,000 people or 1 million people? I mean, it happens quick. It really does. And I've had people that have helped us out that I've seen them change, 20, 30 people's lives. And like those 30 people go on to change, 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000. It's unlimited after about 3 or 4 chains of that.
Just think about how many clients we have, and it's not all of them by any means, because we have a wide variety of ages, but how many have young children? And of those young children, they're going to be instilling this new vision that they have in their children as well too. Doesn't mean they're going to go down that path, but at least they have it in their memory to understand that there are other directions to provide for your family than just going to the brick and mortar and the 9 to 5 type thing and have that creativity. So really, X amount of clients that we have, we'll think about all the family members, wives, and we invite wives to the coaching calls, into the groups. It's awesome.
It's awesome.
It's great stuff. Yeah.
Well, that was actually going to be my final question that you answered. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. I was just, what does success at the end of your life look like? I think you kind of wrapped that up. I mean, I would say the same thing. Like, I would love to know that we've made an impact and changed your life. And I mean, shoot, that's all I need. I don't even, my standard of living hasn't increased in the past 10 years. Like we literally, I mean, I drive the same car. Like we live in the same house. Like I don't need anything else. One thing I would need is just like more community around. Like, and that's why we're trying to take a lot of our profits and be able to buy some of my family's time back. Maybe we'll buy a big piece of land and build a community that way with all the family kind of on the same property. We've talked about that, but it's all built with other people in mind. Like we don't,
Right.
Megan and I haven't, we don't ever, I paid $4,000 for my CRV, driven that for 5 years. And then, and we have more than enough money to go buy a new vehicle. And we've also, my truck I paid $600 for. I got a deal on it. It's probably worth $5,000, but I got an old Silverado I drive around and I love it. Like I don't need anything else. Our house is small. Like, all of our money goes back into trying to make a bigger impact. I don't need a bigger house or better cars or anything like that. It's like I'd rather affect more change in more lives. And a big part, I think a challenging part of that is also, I know people that want to make a big impact, but they don't really know where to even put their money. So, really trying to help you build things that you really believe in, that you can put your money into. It doesn't have to be something that you're not affiliated with, like stocks or whatever. I mean, you can really build anything as a human. We talk about being co-creators on this show. You can create something and put your money into that, or two things and put your money into that. Like those can be investments for you, and it'll make you not as wanting to go out and just save for a yacht. Like it'll make you, oh, I got this thing, I want to put some money into it, I believe in it. And so that's kind of what I'm hoping this series will help you think through.
The cool thing I think that maybe some of our clients don't understand, and hopefully potential clients we can bring to the table, is that as much as we're helping them, they're helping us. They make us, and I'm not saying because of the profits coming in. I me, I don't care about money. I really, really don't, as long as I have enough to live. But mentally, they're making us better. They're making us think stronger, come up with better techniques to help them better. So it is a wonderful relationship. The four of us never approach a situation that we have the answer and we know everything. Not at all. And we're constantly working, racking our brains to come up with better systems for our clients, to provide better services for them, to make them more successful faster so that they can scale and grow if they want to do that, or to bring their family home, their wife or husband, out of their work phase. They're testing and challenging us and making us better. And those, I told you before we started recording, I had 4 meeting summaries to go over. And, I haven't done writing and paragraphs and all that stuff in years. So just in that itself is helping me become a better communicator via keyboard. It's just opening up a new part of me that I haven't used in probably 20 years. So it's making me better so that I can take what I'm saying and put it into a written piece better, so they can understand it. So every bit of it is just becoming and making us all and testing us in different avenues and making us better, which is great.
And the more people that are invited into it, that's just more and more people to learn from. And I come from kind of an academic background where it's always like you have teacher and student. Well, don't you think it should be kind of both the same going on at the same time? I literally approach life like I can learn something from anyone at any point in time. I don't care if you're a janitor, if you're the CEO of NVIDIA, whatever. Like I can learn something from anyone. We all have our everybody might not be the most educated, but I think experience is the best teacher, and we all have different experiences to learn from. So that's how I approach life. I think that's how all of us here at Lawn Care Launch approach life. And I think there's something, I don't know. I think I'm looking forward to learning from many, many more people. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's again another full circle moment of, I remember back in high school, the few couple teachers that I really enjoyed their classes, and those classes were because they weren't the last word. They weren't the dictator, take this information. They were open conversation learning sessions, which were amazing. And obviously they did that on purpose, way above our heads in the beginning of high school. Yeah. Like, why are we having conversations like this? Why don't you just tell me what to do and take the multiple choice test and let's get on to the next thing? those teachers, Mr. Gesse was one of them. He was an amazing teacher that everything was just a conversational learning point when we did that. And unfortunately, it took me a long time in my career to get to that point to where that became my coaching style at Russo. It wasn't that I was the smartest person in the room. Yeah, I came there with a ton of experience, but like you said, some of these guys that never were able to get past and get a driver's license, but they showed up every single day and could do phenomenal work.
Yeah.
They had some pretty amazing ideas that were in their head. And when I gave them the confidence to open that up out of them, you just watched this aurora go through the company. It was so cool. That's probably one of the most proudest things I've had in a company working for someone else, is opening up the opportunity for everyone within our company to have a voice and it matter. And even if it was a bad example or choice, positively coaching them through that so that they continued to think that they could make a change and come up with a better idea.
And that's how you build an organization. That's almost constitutional. Like, we the people. Like, it's not we the management. It's the people of the organization that builds the organization into the vision that it was originally intended to have. And if you have the vision and people are attracted to that vision, everyone can help make that vision better. It's hard to switch visions. You can't be in year 15 and like switch entirely, like, oh, we're all about serving others, then we go all about money. That's not going to work. You're going to have a mutiny. It's not healthy either way. You can't be all about money and switch to serving others. Like, it's the whole organization is built around the vision, but the vision can be bettered by the people within it. So I love that, man. Well, Kevin, I think that's all we got here. What's that? Go ahead.
No, we had an example of that where you and I had an off-air conversation of a meeting I had a couple nights ago, and they're making a big diabolical switch within this massive company. The friend that I have that works in, and you nailed it. Like, they're going to go from this vision to this vision. They're going to have some major turmoil within it. And you just laid ground to that right now. Again, it happens over and over again.
Yep. It's the circle of life. Awesome. We'll wrap it up here. Next, we're going to be talking about the next part of our series. Like I said, we're going to be talking about skills, which leads to helping you find your purpose, which leads to helping you create your vision, which leads to helping you create something to accomplish that vision, which then leads you to becoming an owner, and learning how to be responsible with that, and then passing that ownership down in terms of how can we keep this going without it turning into a monster? Because I think about that all the time. It's like making something, passing it down, and it goes to pot. Like, that's terrifying. How can you prevent that? And, I haven't done that yet. I'm only 34, but I'm interested in talking through some theories on how we could prevent that. And I've spent most of my life thinking about it. So I'd like to hash it out with, you and Mikey and see what you guys think. And anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Next, we'll be talking about skills. So looking forward to seeing you next week to talk about that.
All right. Have a great week.